I do our countdown one more time. Nope, we're live. No time for a countdown. Happy Wellness Wednesday, everyone. This is our first Wellness Wednesday of the year. I'm so excited. This is a very timely topic, so we kind of change course a little bit, but I think you'll like it and you'll appreciate it. I'm Debra Dixon-Anderson from Gold Wellness Circle and Light of Gold PR. So welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm so excited to have as my guest Anthony Smith. I call him Tony. So Tony Smith, if I switch back and forth, you know why. I've known Tony. Gosh, Tony, you know what? I've known you for 10 years now.
Wow, wow, wow. Honored.
We met in 2000. We met in 2016.
Wow, wow.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
It's
So I'm
been,
so,
it's,
so thrilled.
yeah.
I'm so thrilled to have had you in my life. So, I appreciate you. So, yeah.
Thank you, man. It's definitely been a pleasure and an honor, and I've learned so much from you. So thank you for very much for having me on the call.
Yes, yes, thank you. So, everyone, this is Wellness Wednesday. I also host Mindset Monday or Marketing Monday as well. Light of Gold PR is almost 20 years old. I can't believe that. So, our regular business, our for-profit business is Light of Gold PR. We do everything from branding to marketing to digital to we do a lot of really great stuff. And we're always looking to connect with other small businesses or medium sized businesses and nonprofits. Perfect segue to Go Wellness Circle. Go Wellness Circle will be 5 this year. I can't believe that because we started, well, almost 6. We started in response to COVID. So
Wow.
that's when we got started, and we started doing the Zumba online, the meditation online, the yoga online. All of that started 6 years ago when COVID happened. We just kind of pivoted and we wanted people to feel like they were part of a community, like they were not alone. That was really important to me. And that was the reason why we started Go Wellness Circle. Now it's a full-fledged 501c3 nonprofit. And we host a lot of events. A lot of our fundraisers and events are really connected to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm a 7-year survivor to Alzheimer's care. Thank you, thank you. Alzheimer's for our caregivers and food insecurity. A lot of kids are coming from homeless circumstances and they're going to school. Schools become their happy place. So we always like to see how can we give back? What can we do? So based on that, I got my water too. So we're going to need it because we're going to be talking a lot. So I want to share with you all some of the things that we have coming up this week. And that's going to be our Unsucky Speed Networking event that's happening tomorrow. It's going to be in Montclair, and it's going to be held at Rec Room. I love Rec Room in J. Rec Room is a wonderful co-working space right at One Lackawanna Plaza. We'll be there from 6 to 7:30. And listen, if you message me, I'll send you a free ticket. So message me or message Rec Room, say Debra sent you, and you'll get a comp for tomorrow. It's going to be fun, networking, engaged networking, and I'll teach you some tricks of the trade with networking and how important that is. So join us tomorrow at Rec Room NJ, right at One Lackawanna Plaza in Montclair, New Jersey. Okay, so we hope to see you there. I'm going to pull up another slide about our upcoming our Gold Women's Awards event. So let me pull that up. I'm super excited about that event as well. It's not coming up until May, but we figure that we'll go ahead and talk about it now for anybody who wants to participate. Of course, I can't pull it up on the screen, but that's okay. I'll see if I could pull it up for all of you later on. That's perfectly okay. I'll pull it up later, but that's happening May 14th. It's going to be right at Mercy University in the evening, and it's a women's health and business gala, really to honor women who have been out there doing their thing, making a difference out in the world. And so we're having a nomination process now. We're going to share the nomination file with you so you could go ahead and fill it out. It's a form that you could fill out and send to us so that we can honor some superstar women in business, community, all the women who are doing tremendous things. We're going to be honoring them at that event. So I'm going to pull this, see if I can pull this down. This is what happens when I'm like kind of like home alone. No team on today, but luckily I am somewhat technical. So let me see if I could do this. Please forgive me if I take us off stage. I'll put us back on. Did it. Yay. Okay. So our topic today is about protecting your peace. Protecting your peace. What a timely topic. I mean, it's just really challenging today. We know a lot of you, and us included, are going through stressful times today. And how do you protect your peace? How do you do that? It is not an easy thing, but we're going to teach you some really tremendous tools and tips on how you can do that. So what I want to start out with is something that you and I both know, Tony, and that is there are a lot of people, 84%, as a matter of fact, that say that self-care is a must, but only a third of us actually do it. That's why we're here. So Casey's going to be joining us later on. She's also part of our Fit Cam, our wellness family. But we want to help you close that gap so you don't become part of the $1 trillion burnout statistic. 84% say that it's a must, but only a third of us actually do it. Tony, what do you think? What do you think about that statistic?
I didn't hear. I apologize. I didn't hear the statistic came from where again. I apologize.
84% of people believe that, and this was the American Psychological Association, they believe that self-care is a must, but only a third actually practice self-care. Only one third, even though 84% of people believe that it's a must.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I do find that a lot of people, I guess, again, Deborah, thank you very much for the opportunity. Um, it's just
So you're looking at yourself right now, so I'm gonna spotlight you. Can you still hear us, Tony? You good? So a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm gonna chime in a little bit on that statistic. So I'm part of a wonderful wellness community, whether we travel together through my Zumba community. Shout out to Serena Powell and our wonderful Zumba teacher who also does travel. So whether we're traveling together, going to Zumba class, going to yoga class, whatever it is we're doing, wellness is at the forefront. Wellness is at the forefront of whatever we're doing. Okay, so we'll bring Tony back momentarily. Wellness is at the forefront of whatever we're doing. What does that mean? That means that it's numero uno, and it should be numero uno for you too. Number one, here's the biggest issue. A lot of us don't put ourselves at the top of the list. Why? We put everybody else before us. And you know what? As many times as I've talked about this particular topic, people keep coming back again and again to learn self-care tools and tips because we always need to be reminded of wellness. It is just so critical. and it's so important. So I would love to be able to find out, um, how do you feel right now for those of you who are on? I'm going to check the comments. We want this to be interactive. Okay. So please, comments, um, talk to us. Tell us what you're dealing with. What, ask us if any questions that you'd like to ask us. But if I were to ask you, how are you feeling right now? Do you feel stressed? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel any kind of anxiety? Feel free to just post it in the comments wherever you're coming to us from, whether it's YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. Talk to us about how you're feeling right now. How do you feel right now? Are you feeling stressed? Do you feel present in this session? How are you feeling? I think it's important to be present. So many of us are distracted. We're distracted. We're pulled in 1,000 different directions. We're distracted. We're overwhelmed. How are you feeling now? Some of the ways that we show our stress, sometimes we're hunched over a little bit. You know how I know when I'm stressed out, I might be hunched over a little bit. And when I take a deep breath, I feel this sense of relief. I didn't even know I was feeling stressed out. So taking deep breaths is really critical. We're going to get a chance to do a little bit of wellness practices and meditation. So stay on and hang out with us for that. Okay. So go ahead and post something in the chat, drop it in the chat. We want to know who's here. We want to know what kinds of stressful situations you're dealing with. And do you feel overwhelmed and stressed? So I'm going to ask whoever's watching, go ahead and drop it into the chat. We want to hear from you. Okay, so let's talk about some recharging of the body and mind. That's really important. So when Tony comes back on, I'm going to bring him back to the stage. But for now, I'm just gonna talk to you for a little bit. So digital sunset technique. Do you know what a digital sunset is? Digital sunset technique. What is that? Do you want to know what that is? Protecting your peace, right? The state of affairs by turning off news, notifications, any kind of notifications from your phone. Turn it off. Stop looking at it at least 30 minutes before you go to bed. Now, my husband Rick, if he's watching right now, I want to let him know I'm working on this, okay? Even for me, this could be challenging. You know what? I'll let you in on something. I don't have problems getting up. I can get up anywhere between 5:30 a.m. and 6:30 a.m. Usually that's my time frame for getting up. Most of the times it's 6 a.m. I get up, relatively early. Here's the thing. So I have an alarm that goes off to wake me up. Here's what a little tip. My issue is not waking up. My issue is going to sleep. So now it's a paradigm shift. I realized that I needed to set up set up an alarm to go to bed. So guess what? At 10 p.m., doesn't always work out, but I'm going to tell you what has been helping me since we've gotten into 2026. I set the alarm starting at 10 p.m. Got to go to sleep, get ready for bed. You need to be in bed within an hour. Okay. So I set an alarm. Then I set another alarm at 10:30. Girl, you better be getting ready to go to bed. So within the hour. Okay. 11 o'clock. So the way it's working out right now is I'm in bed between 11 and 11:30 so that I can get 7 hours of sleep, sometimes 6 hours of sleep. 6 is wonderful in my world. That was not always the case. I made a huge mistake. I fall asleep on the couch in front of the TV, and then I wake up, start looking at TV, start looking at my phone. Now it's actually 1:30 in the morning. Then I go to sleep. And guess what? I was distracted. I didn't get enough sleep. I'm not rested. some of us have trouble going to bed, not waking up. And sometimes you might have trouble waking up because you didn't get enough sleep. Okay. So I had to turn this whole thing on its ear, and I set alarms for me to go to sleep, to get to have a sleep ritual. I learned about sleep rituals from my friend Tony, and he's back, y'all. So I'm gonna bring him up on the stage with me. I learned about sleep rituals from you, Tony, because I realized, and this it took me a minute for me to start adopting this. Listening to calming music, turning off the TV, turning off my notifications. I have to have a cutoff point. Now, I don't make it every single night perfectly, but I got to tell you, 3 or 4 nights out of the week beats a blank, which was 1 or 2 nights. So I feel like I've improved. What do you think, Tony? Let's talk about sleep rituals.
Deb, I apologize there. I'm having an issue with my phone, but
That's okay. It
it's
happens.
well, one of the things that you just said about with the sleep is part of what you talked about just earlier before I disappeared, which is self-care. Um, as you know, my background and come from an environment of 11 children and domestic abuse and just issues with just again a lot of trauma. And one of the things that I deserved to do during that time was work on some self-care practices that can help offset the nervousness I was going through from the history of trauma. And one of them, God be it is, which is sleep. Sleep has been the end all and be all for me because sleep, in essence, if you play hockey at all, and you understand when the hockey players are done playing on the ice, there's a machine that comes onto the ice and smooths out the ice so the players can play again. Well, sleep, if you understand that analogy, sleep, in essence, when you get enough of it, will help smooth out the anxiety and the depression and all the icky stuff that we go through the day. It replenishes our body. And Deborah, because of that, I go to bed anywhere from 6 to 6:30 to 7 o'clock. Now I'll get like 8 to 9 hours of sleep, but in essence, what sleep does, it rejuvenates my body. We've been indoctrinated with this idea that sleep is not important, but sleep, if you look at all the healthcare practices for yourself, whether it be fitness, whether it be nutrition, all the things that are helpful, those are the that keep you up. But the one thing that keeps all the healthcare practices up is sleep. Because if you don't get any sleep, you eat badly. If you don't get enough sleep, you don't feel like working out. If you don't get enough sleep, you look at your attention is not in the right mindset. So sleep is in essence the end all and be all, Deborah.
I love that, Tony. Yeah, I agree with you too. I mean, I can push myself, which is not always good, and just kind of roll with it, put on a happy face. But I feel like trash sometimes, if
Yeah,
I don't get enough sleep. And
yeah,
so, Ricky Anderson, we know who that is. That's my husband, Rick. He chimed in. I'm so proud of him. He
my
chimed in
God.
on YouTube. He said, "Hey, Debbie D, I feel great because I've been to my happy place, the gym. I know that's
Wow,
his happy place. During that
wow,
90 minutes, there's nothing else on my mind but
yeah,
greater, better, stronger around others doing the same."
yeah.
Yes, yes. So thank you, babe. Thanks for chiming in. I love that. Very, very true. Definitely. Why don't we talk about movement, Tony? That's the next thing. So thanks, hon, for a wonderful segue for me and Tony, and a part of our relationship is really around the Montclair why and exercise and fitness and everything. Um, so I just love exercise. I love exercise. It's not a heavy lift for me at all. I mean, whether it's Zumba class, yoga class, spin class, walking, and I have tribes and communities around all of that. And so, you know what that does when you have a tribe or a community around all of this stuff? You basically have people who are like, where were you? You know,
Yeah,
you have accountability. I didn't see you. I didn't
yeah,
see you here. It's been a while. And so now you have accountability. When you don't, and you're just like, I'm just going to do this on my own. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of us are loners and we like to work out in solitude and everything. But it's nice to be part of a gym, part of a community. You could create that community of, people who walk, me and the feisty. So Casey's going to be joining us later. We started walking in response to COVID. We've been walking almost 6 years now. Almost not, we have to be careful. I was going to say like the mailman, rain, sleet, snow. But because we get out there now, but now when it gets to
yeah.
be 20 degrees, we exercise inside. But for the most part, we stayed with it for 6 years, and a lot of it is accountability,
Yeah.
And so, Tony, I know you have tribes around you as well. So let's talk about it.
Well, one of the things, again, thank you very much, Deborah, for this on the aspect of movement. And, it's probably been one of the things that's been near and dear to my heart, because as you know, Deborah, I was a little heavier than you saw me before, and before that, I was even heavier than that. And I've released in my process within the last 10 years well over 100 pounds. And, the reason why I did that, it wasn't what I was eating. It was what was eating me. And, once I worked on myself, on the things on trauma and unresolved issues, then a lot of the weight came off, through a lot of the wonderful different tribes that I had. Like a tribe that I had, which is the Fit Fam, which it comes out of YMCA, where I met Debra from, which gave me accountability and encouragement and all the great things, because no person is an island, and that, we want to be able to do the things that's helpful for us, but then again, life gets in the way. And so we fall off. And so when you have a tribe, like in fitness, they'll be able, just as Deborah would say, to ask you where you've been, or encourage you, or if you're having a bad day, still lift you up. And I've had the honor and distinction to have that, and not only in my Fit Fam at the YMCA, but I'm also a part of a tremendous hot yoga organization down in Bloomfield, where I've been a part of that for 15 years, where I do hot yoga and hot hit in a room for 100 degrees for about an hour. And it's been like probably one of the greatest things as far as with me, as far as with strength, flexibility, balance, so many things. And again, wonderful, wonderful people. I've also been a part of a wonderful organization called CrossFit. CrossFit has given me the strength to be able just to strengthen my mind, my body, my resilience, and become a lot more diligent. And here's the thing about the aspect of the tribe. The CrossFit, even though it wasn't my cup of tea at the beginning, because it was like really gung ho, it's really developed me, as far as with my discipline, you know what I mean? And I don't have to be like that type of, person at CrossFit all the time. But it's given me this opportunity just to step up, when I'm feeling like I don't want to step up to my goals. So CrossFit has been great. And then the last thing I would say has been great and has helped not only me, but has helped me help other people, is Spartan race, which is, you're running up and down mountains in mud, doing obstacles, and you're being challenged to your very core. But the key thing is You have people who are like pushing you and just encouraging you and just making you stronger. And because of that, within the last 2 months, I've released, and I do use the term released, 25 pounds. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm at the lowest weight. I was at 280 pounds. Right now, I'm at 184 pounds. I'm in a high school weight. I'm at wearing size 32 pants. I mean, I can't believe it. And here's the thing. If you don't want to do anything at all as far as with the fitness, as far as with the weight, do it as far as with your self-esteem, because it's given me so much love for myself. And again, we always can work on ourselves constantly, but it's increased my self-image. And so, it's any time where you can be able just to walk in with confidence and to be able just to show up not only for yourself, which is the most important thing, and that self-care is showing up for yourself, but also being able to show up for other people. And one last thing on that, Deborah, when you talk, this is the key thing that I equate sleep and movement, how important it is, and as far as nutrition is. In your vocation, and I know some of you are in business and you're serving people, how important is it to be able to show up and to be present for your own clients, to be able just to not be, in your mind thinking, I look this way, I look that way, where you can be able just to have the attention and the concentration to be able to hear people, not only what they're saying, but also what they're not saying, where you can be able to feel their energy. That only comes from when you show up for yourself. Does that make sense, Deborah?
It does. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, we need it. We need it. I have found just having a community is amazing.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. I mean, I have been able to stay, relatively fit and going through breast cancer
Oh my God.
at the same time. Um, that was 8 years ago
Yeah.
because the fitness. And I heard something, I remember I was sitting, and this was back in 2017, 2018, not knowing we were supporting one of our fit family members, Dorna.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
went on that breast cancer walk. It was 2017. I was
Yeah.
excited to be there. It was a whole group of us that
Yeah.
was there. What I didn't realize when we went was I had breast cancer at the time. I wasn't diagnosed for
Wow.
a couple weeks after that. Really, literally a month or two after that, I was diagnosed. But I did have it. I remember sitting with a friend of mine from one of my a church that I went to in Brooklyn, and he came and sat with me. I had a wonderful community of people who sat
Yeah.
with me, supported me,
Yeah.
all my wellness folks, and I'll never
Yeah.
forget this. He worked in the hospital at Memorial Sloan Kettering,
Yeah.
with cancer patients.
Yeah.
And he said, Deb, I know that you have breast cancer, but I got to tell you, because you are so physically active,
Wow.
this journey of chemo and treatment for you is going to go so much better because you are fit. You are fit and you work out. I'm thinking to myself, like most, people going through cancer and getting treatment, sometimes we beat ourselves up. What did we do wrong?
Yeah.
We didn't do
Yeah.
anything wrong.
No one
Or,
did.
or did I not do this? Did I not do that? Well, it turns out he said, no, some of us are just going to get about with cancer, but what's keeping you going is the
Yeah.
fact that you are so physically fit and you stay on top of it. So I need all of you who are going through any kind of illnesses to keep that in mind. A lot of times we don't feel like we have the energy,
Yeah.
and chemo will zap your energy. But I got it, but it takes 2 days. Once you have that chemo treatment, all of that energy zap doesn't happen for 2 days, 2 or 3
Yeah.
days. It's not immediate. So
Yeah.
I was able to plan my workouts
Yeah.
based on the way it worked, and I got my rhythm. And so I just want to encourage you, whether you're going through wellness battle a health challenge, whatever it is you're going through, movement is medicine, right? You know this term personally. Movement is medicine. You need to find something. It doesn't have to be what Tony and I do. Maybe Zumba's not your thing, yoga, but a walk, just something to get started. It's a new year. It's 2026, and if you've been slack with your fitness goals and working out, this is the time. It's never too late. You could always get back on track.
Well, Deborah, I just wanted to share with you again. I'm tearing up, because of you have been such an incredible inspiration. I can remember just so vividly, I don't know how many years, in which,
Yeah,
me and Ted, were in the gym, and you pulled
yes.
us to the side,
Hmm.
and I guess we were one of the few people that, in the beginning that you told. Number one, I was honored by that. But I've
Yes.
just seen how, in essence, you were just been so resilient in this process and being able just to take on, breast cancer and to take on the Alzheimer's for your mom, which in essence inspired me. You don't know this or not, it really inspired me because, as I was Grand Marshal of Sophia, which is an organization that helps us, domestic violence victims. And
Yes.
one of the reasons why they came to me and asked me that was because of the aspect of the fitness,
Hmm.
self-care. They had seen me talk about meditation. They had seen me talk about Spartan races. They'd seen me talk about meditation. And this is what they said. Cynthia had said, she said, I want you to be the first male, because not only to inspire the ladies, but to also to help wake men up and to be able just to, talk about this. And and you're an inspiration because of, you've just put yourself out there. And so I want to thank you for what you've done, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you're doing this not because of the vanity aspect of it, yes, we want to look good. Yes, we want to look good. But the key thing is, we're talking about your extrinsic goals, which is what is your purpose? What is when you are gone? Are they going to comment on how well your hair looks or how well your clothes look? Or are they going to say, because of Deborah, I was able just to, stand firm, and look breast cancer in the eye or Alzheimer's in the eye. You're gaining that strength so you can be able to do the battle, this world's battles. Hopefully that makes sense to you
Oh
because
yeah, it makes
for
sense.
me, for me, Deborah, just this domestic violence thing was to be able just to bring my family together, bring my brothers and sisters together, bring my 22 nieces and nephews together. And the only way that I was able to do that was to number one, work on myself, the health, self. I mean, you in the beginning you said something about self care. Look at it as something to be able to strengthen you to do your purpose. That is, and then if you can be able just to really take that on and embrace that and see, why you're here, you'll see that these self-care rituals are how important it is than just the aspect of vanity. Sorry, Deborah.
No, no, please don't apologize. That was amazing, and thank you so much. And I appreciate your support. And I think what's so important too, even segueing to Sophia, which is a wonderful domestic violence organization. I've known Cynthia for years and love her. She started this fantastic organization, and you were the first male grand marshal, and that's powerful. But the other thing is, even with breast cancer, I chose to share this journey with men as well because we need men to advocate for us. And we need you guys to sometimes you have sisters and daughters and significant others, and you have moms, you have people, women in your lives. And sometimes you're very, very close to them. I had men come up to me and said it was uncomfortable, but I asked my sister if she had gotten her mammogram. And I told her, I'm asking you this because I love you. I know it's uncomfortable. I'm your brother. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but I have to ask you this. And it's pretty amazing. I had a good friend of mine who was also going through breast cancer, and she asked every woman in her life to get their mammogram. She was going through the journey herself. And I'll never forget what she said. She said, Deb, I asked every woman, most of them said, I don't want to do it. I hate mammograms. They're awful. When she put that charge out there on Facebook and she just asked all the ladies in her life to please get their mammogram, there were a few women that had breast cancer.
Wow. Wow.
I just want you to take that in. There were a few women that had breast cancer, early stages, and did not know it. Okay, I need all of you to take that in. Yeah, I wish they had another way to do mammograms. Anybody who's listening, oh God, Casey, thank you. Got Casey's backstage. Men, our brothers get breast cancer as well, and it's on the rise. And that's something that we always have to be mindful about. It's a little bit harder to detect in men sometimes than it is in women, but men get breast cancer as well.
Richard Roundtree.
Richard Roundtree, yes.
Shaft. Yeah.
Yep. They get breast cancer as well. So, a lot of times for men, it starts a little bit differently. It's like a little pain in their chest or in their armpit. I know for me, when it spread to the lymph nodes, my armpit was like feeling like where it was stage 2, thankfully. But still, it's like my arm started to not feel the right way. So what I'm saying to you is we're talking about self-care. We're talking about being mindful. When you're distracted and you're not taking care of yourself, you ignore these things. You don't pay attention. Oh, yeah, my arm's been hurting. My armpit's been hurting for 6 months to a year. Do you realize that when you ignore these little signs, that you slip from one stage to the other? Stage 1 to stage 2. So I always think about, wow, if I was more mindful, maybe this could have been caught at stage 1. So
Wow.
this is a charge to everybody who's watching us to please adopt a self-care practice and please stay on top of not just your self-care, but those medical appointments that we keep putting off, those screenings that we keep putting off. Please stop. Please go ahead and go schedule that screening for whatever it is. As we get older, sometimes it's heart related, cardiologists. We have all these different things. And when you get to a certain age, prostate screenings are important. Breasts is important. Colon. It's all these moving parts that we have, but they're important and you have to stay on top of it. And if you have a loved one in your life that's older, maybe you're the one that's in your 20s or 30s, but if you love your mom, your dad, your grandmom, your sister, and they're a little bit older, they're older than you, encourage them to get their screenings. Encourage them. And so what happens when we're distracted is we forget about all of this stuff. That's where the self-care comes in because we are mindful. So we'll talk a little bit about mindfulness. And while we have this slight pause, I want to bring Feisty Casey on stage with us. Let me go see if I can pull her up. Hey, Casey. So we're going to be sharing the
Hey,
stage.
y'all.
Yes. Hey. So we're all on now. And so, Casey, we've been talking for a little bit. I want you to introduce yourself. I was telling everybody I'm so proud of the fact that in 2026, I can say that I've known both of you for 10 years now. That's when we met at the Y 26.
Yeah,
I can't believe we're now the double digits.
it is amazing. Time flies.
It
But
does.
not amazing that you're still in my life as a good friend.
Yes, absolutely. So Casey is also a coach. I'm surrounded by so many rock star coaches, so many rock star people that are knowledgeable. So I'm able to bring this programming to you because the people in my life are experts and they know what they're talking about because they lived a lot of this stuff. So Casey, you're going to go ahead and just share a little bit about you.
Okay, so my big business is called Speak and Own It Communications. And what I do, part of what I do, there are two sections of what I do. The first is I work with business leaders who have to make or break presentations, and they are absolutely terrified that they're not going to nail it. So that is what I do when I work with leaders and coach them on things like executive presence and the words that they use and their intention when they speak. The other part of what I do, which I'm also really proud of, is I work with organizations that are experiencing a culture in their crisis, a crisis in their culture, where their associates are not getting along and communication is suffering. Do you know that mismatched or misfired communication costs American business $2 trillion? So if you think about that and you think about the lack of productivity, what I do is I come in and I help everybody getting on one page in terms of their communication and the way that they show up and talk to each other and the way that they behave. So that's me in a nutshell.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that. I always love to hear about what you do, even though I know what you do. I always love to hear it. So we've been talking about self-care, protecting your peace. So I'm going to actually ask you to weigh in on this topic. Tony's been helping me hold it down until you came with us. So I'm going to put the spotlight on you a little bit with this particular topic. And take Tony off just for a moment so we could talk about this. The next, we talked about digital sunset, meaning turning off the phones and pausing the notifications and all that. We talked about movement and exercise. The next thing I wanted you to chime in on that I think is really powerful is the power of no. Self-care often means setting boundaries.
Yeah.
We need to remind people that no is a complete sentence.
Well, yes, and there's no shame in no. You see, what I think happens to many of us, and I will speak for myself, I will speak from the I, is when you want to be accommodating and you want to help people, you want to serve and be of service, very often another way to say that is people pleasing. And if you are people pleasing, there are instances where you are not pleasing yourself because you're saying yes to way more many things than your calendar really should be holding. I have a really good friend. I call him my boy bestie. And he said, every time we get on the phone, he goes, "Oh, and did I tell you that this is the year of no?" And he says he's kidding, joking with me because I get where it's coming from. But when a person constantly overextends themselves, stretching, saying yes too much, you are usually running ragged. And that's not good for you. It certainly is not good for the outcome of whatever it is you're trying to create. And how are you showing up for the person that you're helping? I mean, really, how are you really showing up? So by giving ourselves some white space in our calendars, time to ground our feet. I have a grounding mat under my chair where I sit. Put your bare feet on that thing, ground yourself. Close your eyes a few times during the day. Take that breath. Drink your water. You are doing yourself more of a service than you ever could if you said just that one additional, yeah, I'll do it. What I've been living by so far this year, and I don't do resolutions, I do my words of the year, and I also want to cultivate a feeling. How do I want to show up, and how do I want to feel when I show up? I think about who deserves me, right? So instead of all this running around and all this doing, we're human beings. We're not doing beings. So all that zipping around and activity, because a lot of times you're really not getting anything done with all that running around. Who deserves you?
I love that. I love that. Who deserves you? And that's just like critical. It's so important. We
Yes.
just keep giving pieces of ourselves away all the time. And then we start feeling, that's when you start feeling anxiety. That's when you start having headaches. That's when you don't even sit the same. You sit differently.
Oh gosh.
Everything changes because you just keep giving pieces of yourself away,
Mhm.
not expecting anything in return, and
Right.
just being, you can't just be there for everybody 100% of the time, because
Mm.
now you're at the bottom of the list.
That's
And it's
exactly.
really terrible. And look, I've been guilty of that too. It's this the reason why I love doing these calls, I love doing this podcast, is because I don't like to coach or train from a textbook way. I will share with you my own experience. I
Yeah.
was that person. I
Yeah.
was that person. And sometimes I am that person. The difference is when you practice self care, you don't stay in that place for so long. You might visit it. You might visit it because we're human, right? We get a little stressed out, something happens, and now we're going down that rabbit hole. The key thing is I might go down that rabbit hole. I don't go as far. I don't stay as long, and sometimes I go in there for a minute. Before it used to be an hour, it used to be days, it used to be months.
Oh
now,
yeah. Mhm.
now it's a totally different thing. And we're going to talk a little bit too, Casey. So I want to make sure we were even with this discussion, because we had two parts of the topic, two topics that Tony and I went through. I mean, I can't even believe how in sync we are, because I didn't even share these notes with you.
No, you
But you're
didn't.
like, I'm like, how she know I was going to talk about grounding?
I
Okay,
did. I
grounding. So
yeah.
to reduce immediate anxiety, identify 5 things like you see, you touch, you
Mhm.
hear, you
Yes.
touch with your grounding. So it
Yes.
pulls your mind, out of, puts it back into your body. So let's talk
Yes.
a little bit about grounding. I love this conversation
Ooh.
because
Ooh.
grounding is so critical for helping us to stay present.
Okay. This is really delicious, Taurus lady. Because okay,
We're
as
both
we happen
Tauruses,
to,
y'all. Both me and Casey are Tauruses.
we're Taurians, we're
Yeah, we
Tauri.
got that horn.
So and but we can share this with everyone.
You
I
can
want to
share
share
with
this with everyone.
everybody. Everybody.
As a
Mhm.
Taurus, I am naturally a very earthy, sensual being, which means I'm very connected to the senses. What I smell, what I taste, what I see, what I hear, what I touch. And the minute that we allow ourselves to go into the senses is when we can start to relax and start to own the responsibility of self care. Grounding will help you do that. Some people, when it's warm out, not with 20 inches of snow on the ground, some people remove their shoes and actually put their feet in the dirt. I like to do this at the beach. So it's I think of yourself as even a lightning rod conducting energy that you are receiving from Mother Earth, and think of it coursing through your body all the way around and back out, up one leg and back out the other side, and doing that on inhales and exhales. Listen, if that doesn't ground you, then we're going to have some one-on-ones around here. But I guarantee, and also, think about what you hear. Think about how there's constant noise almost all the time, unless you are intentional about creating white space. Tony's right, digital sunset, because then you're not just attacking your eyes with the light from the screen, but it's also the messaging that you receive when your phone is on, or the noise, the pings, because we are conditioning ourselves to respond to the ping. There's a ping. Oh my gosh, I have to pick up my phone and see what it is. No, we don't. No, we don't at all. So the grounding really is something that supports us mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I invite us to practice that every single day for 5 minutes. Doesn't have to be long. You may notice, I've noticed lately, I've had some frustrating situations. Maybe I've had to call customer service, but it's so fascinating how genuinely kind I am to the person on the other end of the phone, where the old me would, I would get a little snappy, maybe not with them, but just hang up like, I can't believe this. And I find lately that I'm like, okay, all right, that happened. Well, it kind of stinks, but what you gonna do? Maybe I'll try calling them later. Maybe I'll get someone different on the line rather than keeping it going and going and going on the side, keep talking about it. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? Oh, let me call my friend. Girl, do you know what happened? It's not necessary. It's the antithesis of what we want to do and feel.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. Totally have been there before myself. Totally get it. I love staying grounded. I do like how my feet feel, like, of course, in the warmer time of the year. I do like the feeling of dirt underneath my
Yes.
feet. Like, I do like that feeling. And of course, the beach and the sand. I feel very grounded. And
Yes.
I love the feel of the earth. And
Mm.
so sometimes we have to figure out a way, how do we stay grounded, even at home, if we could find a way to do that at least 5 minutes for every day. I think that's important
Yes.
for us to do. So I am going to remind everybody that you are watching Wellness Wednesday. And this is our first Wellness Wednesday of the year. We're talking about protecting your peace, finding a way to protect your peace. You have to do it, and you can't make it based on what's happening in the world. Well, if this happened, I'd be like this. If this happened, I'd be like this. No, you have to find a way to find peace today, every day. And you have to have a practice for that. And you can't keep making it about what is going on. You can't keep doing that. If you keep doing that, you'll never have it. Right? Because it's always going to be based on, well, this situation changed. No, suppose it doesn't change right away. So you got to find a way to find peace, even when you're going through, tough times. And adopting self-care practices is going to be able to help you do that. So today's Wellness Wednesday, we're talking about protecting your peace. I am going to share tomorrow. So we're going to be having the Unsucky Sweet Networking event. Casey's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Come join us. It's going to be fun networking. We're going to really connect in real time. I love doing networking events and hosting it, but the main thing is getting people to connect with each other in a different kind of way. So make sure you join us at Rec Room right at 1 Lackawanna Plaza in Montclair. Join us tomorrow. We'll be there from 6 to 7:30. It's going to be great. Oh, and I'm sorry, Casey, but we do have some free passes to give. So, but I have a special gift for Feisty, Casey.
Yay!
So we have for free comp passes. Just message me or message Rec Room and say that you watch this podcast and that you want to be able to come tomorrow. So there's that. And then the other thing is our Gold Women's Health and Business Awards Gala that's coming up May 14th. So we have a little time yet for that. But you want to join this. It's going to be held at Mercy University on Thursday, May 14th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's going to be amazing. Besides the awards, we're going to have music and live entertainment and a delicious meal. It's going to be really, really a wonderful event. What we're trying to do is make it kind of a 2-day experience. So for people who want to hang out with us on Friday, we could go see a play together, go have dinner together. So it's going to be a good time. That's going to be our VIP experience. So please join us. Go to lightofgoldpr.com. And if you go to upcoming events, You'll see it right there. If you're interested in being a vendor, a sponsor, attending, bringing a group, or having your group help us with selling tickets or partnering, please reach out to us. You can go to our website, you can message us from the website. So before I continue, I want to ask, does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to drop into the comments about stressful situations, how you maybe de-stress, or maybe something specific that you're dealing with that you would love to be able to get some help with and some direction with, because we get it. We know what that's like. We're in the trenches. We live in this world just like you do. So it's not easy for a lot of us. Sometimes everybody deals with stress differently. Rest is so important. Having a tribe helps as well. Share with us in the comments, and I'm happy to read the comments and just we could address it. So any suggestions? Rick brought up a good point. He was at his happy place at the gym. And he said he was at a space where it was other people doing the same thing. So he felt like he was part of a community. And that's really important that we have that. I know some of us like to fly solo and have, exercise in solitude, but it's nothing like having a tribe to help you with accountability. I mean, we have that, Casey, with our feisties. I mean, there's 5 to 6 of us that walk. We've been walking since together almost 6 years now, because we started with COVID. So having that community is just so powerful. So please drop it in the comments. Any questions that you have, self-care practices that maybe we haven't talked about, please go ahead and share it. So, and then reach out to us. Casey, you can reach out. I'm connected to Casey and Tony via social media. So you can find us. You can find us if you want to get coaching with Casey, or you want to get coaching with Tony. You could definitely find them, on social media. So with Casey Carpenter, Speaking Only Communication, she's on LinkedIn. She's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. She's everywhere, just like we are. And same thing for Tony. But definitely reach out with us if you want any kind of one-on-one. We're going to be doing a lot of business communities, Light of Gold PRs, creating Gold Business Connect, just to bring some business people together. Because guess what? This summer, is it the FIFA Cup? I think it's going to be here.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Be here, and we celebrate 250 years as a country.
Right.
It's going to be a great opportunity to make some money. So we're going to be talking about that on Marketing Monday. Maybe not this Monday, but the following Monday, to kind of talk about, hey, how can we get together and go after the millions of people that are going to be pouring into New York and New Jersey starting in June. So we need to find a way to figure out what kind of business, what kind of service, what kind of product do we need to have to get to all of these people. So if you join Gold Business Connect, we can help you with strategy and all of that great stuff. Sabrina, my cousin. Hey, Sabrina. She said, I feel fine, but the pressure is high. So is stress masking itself? That's Sabrina's question. She feels fine, but her pressure is high. So is stress masking itself? So I know I want to chime in on that, but Casey, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I hope she is under the care of a physician, because we do first and foremost want to trust the medical professionals or whomever you go to find out. But it could be, Sabrina, it absolutely could be. It could be your diet. So these things. It could be several things. So the question, I think, is what can you do to start to address it? And a lot of what we said here today is taking control of your time and the way you want to feel and the way you want to show up, grounding yourself. Because one thing I know for sure is that relaxation techniques will definitely bring pressure down. So please do see your physician, get yourself checked up, make sure everything's okay. And if it is, then you've already eliminated something medical, then you know that it could very well be something that you could influence to help it come down.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that, Casey. Thank you for chiming in with that. That makes perfect sense. Definitely seeing your doctor, making sure you're staying on top of your checkups is important. I have another perspective because I know Sabrina personally. So I know she's a caregiver for her grandmother. And
Okay.
that in and of itself can be a lot. So the
Oh
way
my
I
goodness.
look at this, I feel that when we are providing care for a
Oh,
loved one, we don't realize that we are ignoring certain things that we need to do for ourselves. And
yeah.
it's not always intentional.
Mm,
But here's what I would recommend too is to practice extreme self-care. What does that mean? It might not feel comfortable at first, but taking that time to breathe, breathing, meditation, walking, and it has to be a time that only belongs to Sabrina. That's only for you. Even if it starts out with 10 or 15 minutes each day, that's only for you, and then increase that. Make it 30 minutes, make it 45 minutes. What can you do for yourself? Because there are some tools that you could use to bring that pressure down. You may not be mindful that you are stressed out. So still go see the doctor, but personally, because I know you, I think that incorporating as much self-care for yourself as possible is important, to be present for yourself. So many times when you're taking care of a loved one, you're present for them. You're present for them. And I know this from personal experience because I've lived this with, taking care of my mom.
mm,
So just making sure you find incorporate 1, 2, 3 of these recommendations that we're making for
yeah.
you. And you know what? My mom used to have all these great sayings. She used to say, like changing the channel, like you can't look at too much news. You can't stay in that place. That emotion that we stay in sometime when we're angry, when we're mad, when we're anxious, and we just stay there. We don't even leave there. Then you start getting a headache. Then you start getting palpitations. You don't know where it's coming from. And
Mm,
sometimes it's because you got to change the channel. You got to shake it off, go do something fun, to take you out of that place. It could have, you went to the facility where grandmom is and maybe someone wasn't taking care of her or ignoring her.
yeah.
Sometimes those emotions stay with us and they stay with us for a minute. And then we start getting a little bit of a headache. And it's like, and my mom used to say to be present, try to look at what's bothering you, what's eating at you. That's where the mindfulness comes from. When we're taking care of someone else, we just kind of all the focus is on them, so making sure you're taking care of you is really, really important. It's critical, so that's what I think you should do. So I wanted to close out. Tony, when you're able to come back with us, I'd like us all to be up here. We want to do a little bit of meditation practice to close it out. But before we go to that, bringing Tony up here with us, we're going to meditate before we close out. But here's a couple of tips that we want to leave you with, and all of you can chime in with this as well. A peace sanctuary. What does that mean? Do you have a physical place in your home, whether it's an apartment or a house, that feels peaceful? Maybe it has candles, maybe it has flowers, but it needs to be a place that you can sit and you feel at peace. You feel good. It makes you feel good. Do you have a peace sanctuary? Can you create it? It doesn't have to be really big. Just needs to be someplace where you can push out some of this, these negative feelings or feelings of anxiety. You could push it out when you have that special place that you could sit. Some of us have lost loved ones and we're grieving. The holidays are rough. Tony and I both lost our moms in the same month. It's been what, 5 years now, almost 6. in the same month, both in December. That grief doesn't have a time frame. Uh, it's there. And sometimes it hits us. Honoring the grief and having micro rituals is really important, like lighting a candle. I've written letters to my mom before, doing that to honor that loved one. But some of us are a little bit closer to it because maybe we lost mom or dad in the past 3 months. It's fresh. It's painful. You have no control over how you're going to react. What does that look like for you? I got grief counseling immediately after my mom passed away. And it made such a big difference. Three to 4 months I stayed with a grief counseling group, and it made a huge difference. I highly recommend grief counseling. There's a lot of free grief counseling groups. They don't have to cost a lot of money, but you have to be intentional and show up for it. Then I would say the last one, what did I do for my body today? What did I learn for my mind? What did I do to feed my spirit? How do we stay there? I know as I get older, I need little cues, and so I do something funny on my phone with a pop-up reminder. My pop-up reminders have my voice. You can program it into your phone. My pop-up reminder at 10 p.m. is, "Girl, you haven't gotten ready for bed yet." It actually says that. I type that in. Why haven't you gotten ready for bed? 10:30. What are you doing? Use your own voice with this pop-up reminder. I have it in my phone. So it's the same thing. I have a reminder that says, what have you done for yourself today? What have you learned today? Are you balanced? And I need those cues. So whether it's on your calendar or it's a reminder on your phone, do it. Because sometimes we are just overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed and we need those reminders. So for Tony, um, I know what I would do is ask each of you before we close out. Tony, I think I want you to close this out with meditation. So I'll go to Casey first. What do you think? What is your peace sanctuary? Yeah, I know your mom has been gone for a while. So even for her, how do you honor her? How do you check in? What do you do?
Yeah, yeah. Well, several thoughts on how I honor mom. She loved the flowers, the bird of paradise. It's a tropical flower with orange and purple, and it looks like a bird. So I had bought some artificial ones, and I keep them in a vase that usually is on my dining table. That's kind of permanent. If you go to my Facebook page, you will see a bird of paradise flower on my kind of splash page. That also is permanent. That stays there. Now, what do I do for me, for my little sanctuary? You're looking at it. Every week I have fresh flowers without fail. Even when I was not making $200 in a month, I would go to Trader Joe's and for $3.99 buy the smallest bouquet I could find so that I had something that I could ground to that spoke of beauty and that smelled good. So and then as I started making money, I could have the bigger bouquets.
I
So
love
and for me, I'm a spring summer, and this winter I find difficult. So I want to bring the outside in, and I do that with my flowers.
I love that. I
Mm.
love that. That's amazing. I think I need to take a page out of your book with that. That's
Mhm.
amazing. I love that.
Trader
So that's
Joe's.
Trader Joe's. For me, I love to dance. So my mother was a dancer.
Mm.
So I'm always in Zumba class, and then I have her picture and image on my Gold Wellness Circle website because she's my why for why one of my whys for why I created it. So I kind of like to keep her front and center. And, I had the best experience about 2 weeks ago. I was going to a NABO meeting. Uh, that's a organization for women business owners. It was in New York. It was a New York chapter. And I was walking. You know how they have all these T-shirts that are hanging in New York City? You pass by any of those places that you could stop in as a tourist. And there was a shirt that said Mama's Meatball. And my mom used to call me, my sisters, nieces, nephews, her meatballs. And so I felt like that was an eye wink to us. My niece said, "You got to send me that picture." I took a picture, but it's like in my mind, I always remember that I'm one of Tootie's meatballs, so, so I love that. And so now, almost 6 years later, I could smile instead of cry when I talk about her. But 5 years ago wasn't always the case. 6 years ago. So for those of you who have lost parents and lost loved ones, it's going to get better. It's going to be okay. This is the way it is now. Cry if you need to cry. It's okay. Don't shy away from the feelings, because they're going to come and you're not going to have any control over it. But it will get better. So, thank you. And so I'm going to end it with Tony. Tony, I want you to share, then I want you to close us out with meditation. We could do a 1-2 minute meditation.
All right. Thank you, Deborah. And again, probably my sanctuary more so than anything is, well, two things. One is stillness. Peace is in stillness. And, for me, early in the morning, especially like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, where it's probably my most meditative time, where I'm able just to feel peace and comfort and joy. And, I do little things such as cleaning, or, little music or just something that makes me happy. The second thing, and then this is in honor of my mom, was being able to, how can I make a difference in all aspect of my life? What can I do? And, one of the things about my mom, who in essence, suffered from schizophrenia, went through what she went through. But the one overriding thing that I noticed, and I noticed this from my brothers and sisters and my nieces and nephews, is they have something that I think got from my mother, which is her smile and her love for people. And that, in essence, I, did my best to cultivate. How can I make a difference by just showing up and being present and being love? And again, it's always a work in progress. But in essence, she made that difference for all of us. So I want to thank you very much for asking me that. So why don't we just get started with some meditation? As I said, there's peace in the pause. So allow yourself to, wherever you are, sit in your chair, or if you're walking, walk heel to toe, but just be present. Allow yourself to expand your body. And as you're expanding your body, you might notice some thoughts that might be going through your head. Maybe you have a grocery list or a to-do list or things that you have to do. Allow yourself to let the thoughts go through, to welcome those thoughts, because they're always going to be there, to include them, show them love. But allow yourself to be an observer, a witness to these thoughts. Take a deep breath in through your body, filling up your body down to your belly. Now exhale slowly. Take an inhale, using your breath as an anchor to anchor the thoughts that might be going through your head. Exhale. Inhale. Another anchor you can use is something that a name or a word that you can use, such as peace, peace, peace. Two more inhales. Inhale. Shoulders back, chin up, head up. Exhale. Last one, best one. Inhale as your body is feeling more energized, more purposeful. Exhale. As we close out our meditation practice, breathe in slowly, out. In, out. Knowing that by taking this meditation practice, you are widening the gap between stimulus and response. Stimulus, something happens. Response, how powerful can you respond back? Do you react or do you respond? How can you be the change that you want to be in, see in the world? It starts with you. It starts with me. Namaste.
Namaste. All right, everybody. Protect your peace. Remember these tips and tools. Let's give it up for Tony Smith and Casey Carpenter. They were phenomenal. Thank you. You guys rock.
Thank you, Debra.
So just keep all this stuff in mind, everybody. You could do this. You're going to need it every day. You need a practice. You need something every day to take care of you. It's so important. It is critical. So please take care of you. You're number one. You can't take care of anybody else if you don't take care of yourself first. Okay? So any more information, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Now, next time, we might be talking about weight loss next time. That was supposed to be today's topic. So 2 more weeks, we will be talking about weight loss and nutrition, and staying present is always critical. So join us in 2 weeks, and then you'll see some Marketing Monday topics. Visit lightofgoldpr.com or goldwellnesscircle.com. Go ahead and message me. I'm still callable and I'm still textable. So reach out. But thank you so much, Tony and Casey. Take care, everybody. See you soon. Bye. Take care. Bye-bye. Yep. Let's spotlight each of them because they were amazing. So thank you. I hope everybody got something out of this. And so we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. So I'm going to end our live. Just give me a sec.